Welcome back to my show. I am super excited today. We are going to be learning two things. One, we're going to be learning, is it a good idea to wear a white shirt while making a salsa? I'm hoping the answer is yes. And the second thing we're learning is how to make a salsa. And we're not just making any old salsa, we are making Salsa Macha. And this is not a Japanese matcha, this is a Mexican matcha. And what that means is essentially this is a salsa that's cooked as opposed to making a raw salsa. And this is a salsa that uses nuts and uses dried chilies to get cooked in oil. This salsa is freaking amazing. This is gonna knock your socks off all the way back to the laundry room. Like, that's how good this is. This is so good. I learned about this salsa from Chef Enrique Oliveira, de Ciudad de Mexico. He owns a restaurant called Pujol. And I was watching Chef's Table, and he mentioned it in passing and when he was with his family in the kitchen that this is his favorite salsa to make. So I was like, okay, what does a world-class chef like as a salsa? And I ended up making it one time, and it was absolutely terrible. It was so bad. And then I went to Mexico, like I do every quarter, and I had the real salsa macha there, and I was like, oh, okay, this is really, really freaking good. So I've learned how to do it now, and I have a much better handle on it. It's super easy. Anyone can do this if you know what you're doing. So I think the key with cooked salsas and Mexican salsas especially is that you want to give it a lot of attention. You want to take it slow. You want to take your time with it. The ingredients need to be treated delicately, so to speak. So we're gonna start by infusing actually this garlic into olive oil. Well, this is actually plain oils. Now, the thing with chilies in Mexico is that they come in two varieties. You have fresh chilies that we are all used to. That's jalapenos, habaneros, those kinds of chilies. So those are what we call fresh chilies. And then we have dry chili. So each fresh chili has its own dry compatriot, so to speak. So for example, this is a guajillo chile, this is a morita, and this is a chile de árbol. And for this recipe, you can actually use any chili that you like. This is a new combination for me. Typically, I would do the morita and chile de árbol, but we're going to try adding in something different here. They have to be de-seeded, so we're going to do that as well. I'll backtrack a little bit. The traditional recipe for this salsa would be to use peanuts. In our recipe here, we are not using peanuts. We are using almonds and sesame seed or pumpkin nuts. I don't know what these are. I think they're pumpkin, sesame. I don't know. Anyways, I'll throw that up in the recipe, but they have to be raw, so that's the key. So you can use any nut that you want, and you can go nuts with your nuts, or all I care. But they have to be raw, and the reason they have to be raw is that they're gonna get cooked and toasted in a neutral oil. So it can be olive oil, but preferably sesame seed oil or avocado oil, something that's not gonna impart a strong flavor, because you want the flavor of the chilies and you want the flavor of your toasted nuts. And that sounds bad, but it's true. So what we're gonna do is infuse the garlic into the oil first for a few minutes, and we're gonna do that at a low temperature for a little bit. We're gonna take out the garlic, we're gonna put it aside, then we're gonna throw in the nuts. We're gonna toast those slowly for 2 or 3 minutes. Again, you don't want anything to burn, you just wanna take it slow. We're gonna add these in, we're gonna toast them until they turn golden. It's going to be a lot easier to see on peanuts because peanuts are already white. So when they turn golden, it's very obvious. These are gold already. So you'll have to fiddle around with that a little bit. And then the chilies. Now the chilies, we're going to have to clean first, and then we're going to cook them. And I'll show you how to do that. But the chilies themselves do not need a lot of time. This is very quick because you don't want these things to burn, and they burn really quickly. And then finally, we're going to blend it all together in molcajete, and we're going to finish it off some lime juice, and that is it. This is super easy. Can't wait to do it. Oh, we're about to do it, so let's get started. Okay, so we're going to start with the guajillo chile here. And that's going to be the easiest one to clean, I think. So the way you start cleaning all these chiles is by cutting off the end here. And then what you're going to do is take your knife down the spine of the chile. So we're going to poke it through here, and you just run it down like this. And down here. And then you open it up like a butterfly. Okay. So the spiciness in all the chiles that we're going to use today, it all comes from the seeds and also from the flesh here. So for example, this here, if you don't want it to be too spicy, you're going to want to take those out. And the other thing to keep in mind actually is that you want to preserve these seeds off to the side, because then you can control the level of spiciness it has. The salsa itself is going to have the spiciness of the chiles, but that's not going to be very high. So what we can then do is take the seeds and throw in a couple at the end to kick it up a notch. So that's it. This is done, and this is ready, and we'll do the next one. And here we have chile de árbol, and super easy to clean again. We snip off the end here, and all the seeds are going to fall out. So let's just get all of these done. You want to shake them out to get the seeds out as much as possible. But if it doesn't all come out, you can open them up. And again, optional, but you can't take out the flesh in here. That's the veins, so to speak. Actually, I believe that's exactly what they're called, is the veins. So you can take out the veins, and that has a lot of heat in it. Also, if you're very sensitive to spiciness and heat, well, probably shouldn't be making this, but you might want to wear gloves. Get all the seeds out, and we don't want a lot of these. So we want about 2 ounces of chilies, which I think 4 or 5 of these chiles de árbol, 1 guajillo, and maybe about 4 or 5 of these moritas. And I think that's all we need. Okay, and lastly, for moritas, and these are a little bit trickier because they're bigger and they're a little bit more harder to work with, but you definitely want to open these up because it's all stuck together. And that's how they come, but you'll see all these seeds in here, and you just want to take all of that out. Okay, so here they are. They're all clean and ready, and you could technically use 1 chile, but why are we using 3? Well, we're using 3 for complexity of flavors, and so we can layer things differently. We don't want just 1 flavor in the salsa. We want a bunch of chilies and different levels of spiciness playing off of one another, okay? So that's the reason we're combining multiple chilies. And you can go crazier than this, but I would say 3 is a good number here. So we have some oil here, about half a cup, third of a cup of oil, and this is again a neutral oil. We want to infuse this oil here with garlic. So we're going to throw in, and we're going to let that cook for a little bit. Okay, we have our garlic going here. Parts of it are starting to get a nice color. It smells really nice. It's been going for 3 minutes or so already, so I think it's going to need maybe up to 5 minutes. You can see the edges here are getting golden color, and that's what we want. And we want to do it gently and slowly so it doesn't burn. I would say this garlic is done here. You can see it's got the nice coloring on it, but it's not burnt, and it smells great. So at this point, you want to take it out. So we're going to take that out. Next, we got our nuts. So do nuts with those. Add in the almonds. Next, add in the pumpkin seed. We're going to let the nuts roast a little bit. We're doing this in parts so that nothing burns and so that everything cooks at the right level. We don't want to do what my Argentinian cooking teacher did, and just throw it all together, cook it for 30 minutes and call it a day. Like, that is, people did not spend thousands of years perfecting these recipes just for you to throw it all together into one pot and just be like, that's it. Okay, so checking in on these a bit later. So I would say they are either done or about done. They're smelling good. They're smelling toasted. So you can see that the pumpkin seeds are golden and really nice. So they have a nice color. You can see that the internal color has changed from that white to a bit of a golden color here. That's what we're looking for. We want them to get toasted, lightly toasted. Now we have this really nice golden oil here, imparted with all the flavors. And what we're going to do is we're going to throw in the chilies group by group, and then we're going to take them out really quickly because we don't want them to burn. So we're going to let them blister. Okay, going to start with moritas here. What you want to see is you want these peppers to start blistering a little bit. And you can see the bubbles starting to form here. So that means they're beginning to cook. So again, you have to be really delicate with them and very fast at this point. So you don't want to let them overcook. If you have a gas oven or a gas stovetop, and so if you can get a comal, that would be so much better and so much easier to do than doing it this way. I would say they're almost done here because when I touch them with the fork, they're getting really, really soft, and that's what you want. And these, we should be able to see blisters on the surface here as they begin to cook, and as soon as they begin to blister, that's the point where you want to take them out. Now they're starting to change color a little bit. I think on this one, it's definitely getting darker, I believe. And it's also good to use a pan with a white bottom like this one, so you can actually tell when your items are cooking or burning. Keep in mind, if they start to harden, then they're getting overcooked. So I don't want them to overcook. And these seem fine. They're still soft and malleable, which is really nice. I'm not seeing blisters. I'm not sure if the temperature is not too high, but I don't want to burn them. So I'm going to just turn up the temperature a little bit, but I'm about to take them out here. I'm fine with them as they are. And now finally, the ancho chile. So toss all those in. And these need the least amount of time because these are very delicate. We got our chiles, we got our nuts, and we got our garlic here together. So we're going to use molcajete, which is what you're looking at here. And we're going to use this pestle to grind it all down to pulp. So what I'm doing is taking things in and out of the molcajete because it's too much. I think the peppers could have cooked a little bit longer as well. I'm going to discard the ones that don't want to blend in. All right, so this is ready. We're going to add in a little bit of lime. You want about a tablespoon or so of lime. So this is half a lime. And at this point, you can add more oil if you'd like, but I don't think it needs more. And you want the salsa to be this consistency. It needs a little bit of salt. All right, the salsa is done. I managed to get through unscathed. I don't see any spots on me, which is not to say it's not going to happen when I'm trying to clean up, but that's it. The salsa is done. So you get about, I would say, 6 ounces of salsa here. This is super delicious on everything, from fish to especially grilled asparagus. I made grilled asparagus the other day, added some of this on there. Super good. I added it to my focaccia as well. It was really good on that. It is good with beef. It's good with beans. It literally, the salsa goes with everything. It has so much depth and so much flavor, and it is super spicy. I managed to get through unscathed. At one point, I had the camera fall on my head while I was cooking, right past the oil. Thank God it didn't fall into the oil. So lesson learned there, don't put your camera right above oil at 300 degrees. That is no bueno in any language. As I said, once we get to a certain milestone, I'm gonna send out a little gift package to one random lucky subscriber. We'll figure out the details later. Most likely it's going to be one of the things I make, maybe a salsa or maybe one of my amazing jams. I don't have any more of the blackberry sage jam left, so maybe there's going to be another episode where I get to do it again. And if I have leftovers from that, I know I will definitely save some leftovers of that as a present to some to a lucky subscriber. Hit that subscribe button, give me a like,